Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We are here today to talk about these gigantic eggs. This is a duck egg. Just for comparison's sake, that's a normal sized duck egg. Now we're talking about eggs that are ridiculously large. Okay, look at the size difference. Same bird. Okay, same bird, same breed, ridiculously oversized. And we're going to talk about why you don't hatch these. Okay, so first of all, just take a look at that size. Okay, there is a reason why this egg is so big. There could be a couple of reasons, but no matter what it is, it's not normal. So this could be a double-yolker. It could be a triple-yolker. This egg could even have another egg inside it. We don't really know. We're going to find out in this video. But there's a reason you don't hatch these. And I'll talk about the reason right after I wash this egg. All right, that egg is washed. Okay, so first of all, let's find out what's in here. Now, duck eggs, this could be true of any type of egg, by the way. It doesn't necessarily have to be a duck egg that you found that's oversized. It could be a goose egg, it could be a chicken egg, a quail, it doesn't matter. Any bird can end up doing this. But this is way too big, this egg. So let's give it a crack, okay? We're just gonna double check. I just got some hair on it from my sweater. And I don't want hair on it because before you crack any egg, you wanna make sure it's clean so that if you're eating the contents, you don't have any bacteria in your food. So let's crack this. Duck eggs, harder to crack than most. So let's give that a bang. And that's 2 yolks. That's why we don't hatch it, okay? So I'm just going to pop this. There we go. But that's why we don't hatch it. That's 2 yolks. 2 yolks is not a good sign, okay? Why isn't it a good sign? 2 yolks generally means that what'll happen, if you look really close, I don't know if you can see it. Ignore the blood spot in the middle. That happens, especially with the double-yolkers. But look at these little dots. There's one here and one over there. Okay? Those little dots are basically the cells from which your babies develop. So in this case, they're ducklings, but they could be chicks or turkey poults or whatever. But those little dots are what your babies develop from. So the yolk itself is what they feed on while they're developing. But these little dots are what develops into your baby. That's the cell cluster. And these are fertilized because they look like little bullseyes. So they're definitely fertilized. And they would develop into baby ducklings. That would mean inside this eggshell, you would have 2 babies. Sounds great, doesn't it? It's not. It is not great at all. Because here's what happens. You put 2 little babies into this shell, even though that shell is big. You put 2 little babies in there. And what ends up happening is, while they grow, most likely they're both going to die. They're going to basically suffocate each other. Because even in a shell bigger like this, okay, a shell that is fairly large. So if we put it back together, that's a fairly large egg, right? Even in a shell that big, there's not enough room for 2 baby ducks, okay? And yes, I know online sometimes you'll see someone saying they hatched a twin, whether it's a duck or a chicken or whatever. And occasionally, that's true. About a 1 in 1,000 chance that you'll get 2 babies out of it. But most of the time, the people who say that are actually making it up. Several people have been caught making it up, and you can usually tell because even if 2 live chicks hatch, all of a sudden one chick is drastically different than it was. It's usually pretty obvious. But even when they're not making it up, it is so rare. And the fate of the 2 babies in that shell is typically horrific. Okay? So you're going to see some images that are not great. So click off the video if you don't want to see them. But generally what happens is the babies suffocate each other, or they partially absorb each other. And even if one is alive when it hatches, it may have an extra leg, it may have an extra beak. this kind of thing happens because twins in a shell like this, where they're trying to develop, have a very low chance of having two healthy birds come out. They are not designed to hatch twins. And these overly large shells are typically double or even triple yolkers. So the best thing you can do is wash those up, use them for your baking, use them for your cooking, use them for your breakfast, whatever. Just don't try to hatch them. It's not worth it, okay? It's 100% not worth it. So my recommendation is do not hatch eggs like that, because just imagine that you're the baby in that egg and you get suffocated. It's cruel. It's not fair. Nobody should do that to another living creature, not knowingly anyway. Does it happen sometimes where the egg is the exact same size and it has a double yolk anyway, and you, at the end of incubation, like, why didn't this one hatch? So you open up and you go, oh, that's why. Yeah, it happens. It does happen. But if you know, so you know this is going to be a double yolker, at the very best, it could have been a triple yolker, or it could have had an egg inside that egg. That happens occasionally. That is never going to hatch properly. Okay? The chances of you getting twins out of an egg like this are very, very low. And if it was an egg inside an egg, that baby's never going to be able to hatch out of that egg anyway. It's just too thick. So if you have an oversized egg like this, just eat it. Okay? Have it for breakfast. Don't waste your time and put a living creature through that. I know they're just embryos. I know that they, are just birds. I know that, but it's still not fair. Have a little compassion and do not automatically start hatching these types of eggs, okay? This is going to make a great breakfast. In fact, I'm going to be making bagels shortly, and oops, almost dumped them. And I'm going to use one of those eggs, because that's 2 eggs. Get 2 eggs out of that. I'm going to use one of those eggs to make bagels right away, because you got to use them. Might as well use them instead of letting them go to waste. I'm just going to cut the blood spot out. You do see that blood spot. That's really common with double yolkers, because those yolks were supposed to go into different eggs. So it's really common to have like a ruptured blood vessel as it's being formed, because it's not normal. So I will just remove that part, and then I'll use part of the egg for part of this for making the bagels, part of it for glazing the bagels, because I don't want to waste it. But you certainly shouldn't hatch it, okay? The good news is my duck eggs are fertile. I can tell, because instead of just little white spots, they're little bullseyes. So, good for me. I know I can definitely put duck eggs in the incubator at the end of the week, and they should be fertile, because these 2 are. We're not going to hatch them, but they're fertile. Anyway, that is about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. Do yourself a favor, don't hatch these guys, and leave a comment below if you have tried and what the outcome was. We'll see you tomorrow.